Hi, the following meditation has to do with the understanding of the very first step of the Eightfold Path. And indeed, it is called Skillful Understanding. Sometimes we will see it as right view or skillful view, but it is an understanding of two primary things. The first thing is the Four Noble Truths. And this was also considered the Buddha's very first teaching. He reached enlightenment through the practice of meditation, and he discovered that we suffer. And this suffering that he was talking about primarily is the kind of thing that we would consider a stress in this day and age. We would label it stress. And the idea behind that is that we get stressed out because we want things to be different. This is actually the second part of the Four Noble Truths. The second noble truth is that we suffer because of our desires, and particularly our desires for things to be different than what they currently are. And so there's a striving, and there's it could be some seeking for happiness, that type of thing. And as long as we're looking for something, we're not very settled. There's stress involved, what I just refer to as striving. The third part of the Four Noble Truths is that we can find a way out of this predicament, and the way out of that is the fourth Noble Truth itself, which is through the practices of the Eightfold Path and the practice of meditation and these types of things, which is what we'll be working with if we're looking at the Eightfold Path in general. We would be looking at the Buddhist path to relieve suffering for ourselves. The other part of this skillful understanding, this meditation that we're going to be doing, is cause and effect, which is directly related to the Four Noble Truths, that if we suffer to any degree, it's because of our actions of the mind. We are looking, we want more things to happen. So as long as we're seeking and we have this stress involved, there will be suffering. There'll be a degree of incompletion. We'll feel incomplete in some way. This is directly related to karma, what we would call karma. So if we roll a ball, for example, even though we're done rolling the ball, it keeps rolling, right? To a certain degree, anyway. And the same thing is true with all of our actions. The word karma literally means action. That's all it's really referring to. But when we think in terms of actions of speech, actions of our body, and particularly actions of mind in the area of thoughts and how we might identify with these discursive thoughts that we might have, or how we look at them and see what is coming up. We know that negative thoughts can cause problems for ourselves. They can cause problems for others. And I think we all know from experience that this is true. But the idea of karma can be so sensitive and so refined that even the slightest irritation of the mind, related to the mind, we can see that it causes problems for us. It can cause a chemical imbalance in the body and the mind, and if we are not very clear in our thoughts, and if we don't understand this, our entire balance in life can be off kilter. Not only our life, but the lives of others that are connected with us. So karma is a very important part of Buddhism. It's a very important part of most Eastern religions, and it's the idea of pay attention to our actions of body and actions of speech, what we say to people, and the inner dialogue as well. What is going on in our own head? What are we saying to ourselves? So one of the common questions that often comes up, this is related directly to the meditation that we'll be doing here, is that what do we do with these discursive thoughts that are in the mind? And one of the ways that I found, and that I actually work with people in the area it could be considered an affirmation or almost like a mantra type thing, but we find the middle of the breath. If we're inhaling, we find the middle, and then if this is the inhalation, and then the exhalation, we find the middle again when we breathe out. And so rather than just finding the top of the inhalation each time, we're finding the middle as we breathe in, and then the middle as we go out. So there's a lot of activity there. But what we do in that middle is place a positive word, something very simple. We could breathe in, find the middle, and label it love. Exhale, find the middle, use the word empathy. Whatever we're working with. And we can be very, very creative with these words. We can happiness can be a word, and joy. These positive words that bring in positive mind states eventually for us as well. But what it does, it works. It's almost guaranteed that it'll work, rather than the habitual mind going back to the negativity again and again and again, which is where the problem is. What we're doing is we're scrambling all that, and we're rewiring the brain in such a way that we're looking for positive things. Every time we every time we do an exhalation, every time we do an inhalation, we're looking for a positive word related to whatever, and it does work. I just encourage you to try this. This first meditation kind of defines these things that I just addressed, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have any problems or concerns or questions, try to get a hold of me, and I'd be happy to discuss and kind of point some things out for you, and maybe you can point some things out for me. I'd like to see how this works for you. Give it a shot. I can almost guarantee that it will change your attitude, change your states, change your feelings, especially if you notice that there's any kind of discursive thinking going on that is in a repetitive, habitual manner. It will erase that. So good luck with this, and we'll stay in touch. Thank you. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes, find some comfort in the body, whether you're sitting on a cushion, sitting on a chair, and in some cases even lying down, although you want to remember that there has to be energy in your meditation practice. It's not a time for sleeping, and it's not a time for checking out in any way. But mentally there's energy, but yet stillness in the mind. And there's comfort and relaxation within the body while keeping a good posture if we're sitting. With the eyes closed, I'd like to guide you through a basic meditation that is more of a contemplative or a type of meditation where we contemplate. And within this contemplation, we do something that I call corralling. We corral our thoughts around a certain subject, and quite simply try to keep this contained so that the mind doesn't wander from this area of contemplation. And the area of contemplation at this moment is skillful understanding, the first step of the Eightfold path. It can be looked at as the rudimentary teachings of Buddhism, but the understanding can run very deeply. And this is namely the area of cause and effect. And the very first teaching in the Buddhist tradition is the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths was something that was understood by the Buddha and was really the basis behind all of his teachings, and even includes the Eightfold Path. It teaches that we do suffer, and we suffer because of our desires, or are wanting things to be different than what they currently are, and that there is a way out of this, which is the third area of the Four Noble Truths, and that the way out is through the teachings of the Eightfold Path. Each step brings us closer to a clarity of mind. Each step takes us closer to happiness that we can claim for ourselves through this clarity. And the clarity is our letting go and our noticing and renouncing the desires. Not that we want to let go and renounce any kind of mental or physical activities, but to be able to look at these and distinguish what they are doing in our lives, and whether they are beneficial or not beneficial. Desires come in many forms. We can have the desire to benefit others, and we can have the desire to have and obtain more for ourselves. And even in that, if this obtaining more allows us to serve others and help our friends and families, loved ones, then it's worthwhile, of course. But if it's motivated by what it could be called the three poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion, or our desires, our aversions, such as fear and anger, and the illusions of the things that, or delusion that causes restlessness and worry and doubt and these other negative mind states that we'll be talking about more. So how we can practice this is in this moment. If there was some record of activities of body, speech, and mind, no past to be concerned about, but just this moment. Is there any negative actions that could come from the activity that we're doing at this moment? We are sitting comfortably or lying down, or maybe just contemplating, maybe even standing. But if we treat this as a meditation practice, go within and really see what is happening within the posture, within the body at this moment. Does everything feel pleasant? Is there some unpleasantness? Or is there a certain amount of neutrality where not much is really being paid attention to? If there's no discomfort, if there's no comfort, does our mind even go there within the body? But if there is discomfort in the knee, for example, a pain in the knee or some other part of the body, our attention goes there perhaps. If we're very mindful and skillful, this won't cause any negativity for us. If we see this as our pain, wonder why it's there, debate with ourselves of how to eliminate it, how long will it be there, why is it there, why is this happening to me, these types of questions. We start to identify with the pain in such a degree that we contract around it, causing more pain within the body and also distraction and discomfort within the mind. This is a very subtle example of how we can create suffering for ourselves on a very small and even a very large degree. Sitting with our eyes closed, the body relaxed. What is happening? Take a look. Go within and see. Is everything neutral? Is everything fine? Can we sit or be in this posture without any mental agitation, without any negativity? In the area of the other aspect of who we believe ourselves to be, and that is in our mental doings, including our speech, and particularly the area of thought. If we think of the positive or the negative things that people do, including ourselves, in the area of body and our speech and our mind in the area of thoughts. What is happening? What is happening in this moment? Is there some discursiveness? As subtle as it might be, is there pleasantness? If we have self-talk in the area of thoughts, for example, not even using the tongue or the mouth to form the words, just looking at our thoughts by themselves, can we rest in this posture? Keep things neutral, not have any discursive thoughts towards anyone, including ourselves. Can we sustain this and watch it, be very mindful? Do we have negative thoughts towards others? Do we have negative thoughts towards ourselves? Do we get angry? Do we have fear? Do we worry? Is there restlessness in the mind? Is there stress? Are these things that we can let go of? At least for a moment. In this moment, in meditation, allow yourself to go on a mental vacation. Just set aside any kind of discursive negative thoughts. Generally, these will pertain to the past or the future. Very subtle and sometimes not so subtle anger of something that happened in the past, or a fear of something that might happen in the future. Becoming very present. And in this presence, look and see what kind of effects are coming from the actions of body, speech, and mind. The things that we do, the things that we say, and the things that we think. As subtle or as gross as it might be. And this is cause and effect. This is karma. Whether there's somebody keeping records of all of this or not, it does not matter. If we push a ball, there is a result. The ball keeps rolling. And the same is true with every action of body, speech, and mind that we and others, all beings, perform. All experiences, all actions. Bring yourself to a comfortable posture. Bring your attention to the breath. Notice the beginning of each breath and the end of each inhalation and each exhalation. Notice the gaps when you breathe out, the bottom of the exhalation, and then again when you breathe in at the top of the inhalation. There's moments of pause. There's moments of gaps, the beginning and the end. And now I invite you to find the middle of the breath. The beginning, middle, and the end of each inhalation and each exhalation. When this is done, you're concentrated. This is something that we'll be looking at later on in the Eightfold Path course. But to even refine this more and direct it towards skillful understanding, I invite you to find the middle of the breath, and every time that you pass through the middle, just place a word, one single word, that is beneficial for ourselves and for others. Breathing in, finding the middle, maybe place the word love. And as we exhale, passing the middle again, place the word empathy. Breathing in, finding the middle, caring. Exhaling, finding the middle, compassion, and so forth. This is a way to train the mind in a very subtle way to find beneficial thoughts. We're looking for words that encompass emotions, states, feelings that are beneficial for ourselves and for others. So sit with this as long as time permits. Allow yourself to find the middle of the breath. This is a very good concentration practice. And place a beneficial word every time you pass the middle. This is a very good way to instantly erase any negativity in the mind, or in other words, negative karma, and place ourselves in a very, very beneficial environment that we produce and condition for ourselves, mentally and physically.